Throughout the annals of modern warfare, few machines have commanded as much respect and instilled as much fear as the main battle tank. From scorched deserts to dense forests, these steel behemoths have consistently dominated the battlefield, shaping conflicts and tipping the scales of power. Join us as we delve deep into the heart of armored warfare, exploring the evolution, capabilities, and enduring significance of the main battle tanks. Abrams. The M1 Abrams main battle tank was developed by Chrysler Defense, now General Dynamics Land Systems, with production starting in the 1970s. This main battle tank was named in honor of General Abrams, commander of U.S. forces during the Vietnam War. It first entered service in 1980 and was produced for the U.S. Army from 1978 until 1992. The M1A1 entered production in 1985, followed by the M1A2 in 1986. During Operation Desert Storm, 2,000 M1 Abrams tanks were used. The M1 proved vastly superior, and not a single tank was destroyed by enemy fire. Since then, the Army has modernized its M1 inventory with a series of upgrades to improve the tank's capabilities. The M1 Abrams features composite armor similar to British Chalbam, which features multiple layers of steel and ceramics. It may also be fitted with explosive reactive armor. The interior of the tank is lined with Kevlar, protecting the crew against spalling. Ammunition is stored in the turret bustle with blowout panels. It is fitted with the M68A1 105mm rifled gun, which is loaded manually. The M1 is compatible with all standard NATO 105mm tank ammunition. A total of 55 rounds are carried for the main gun, including 44 rounds stored in the turret bustle and 11 rounds stored in protective containers inside the hull. This tank has a modern fire control system with a high first-hit probability. It can destroy tank-sized targets at a range of 2 kilometers while firing on the move. Secondary armament consists of a 7.62mm coaxial machine gun. Also, there is a 12.7mm and another 7.62mm machine gun mounted on top of the roof. The M1 Abrams weighs 54.54 tons, measures 7.92 meters in length, 3.65 meters in width, and 2.38 meters in height. It has a top road speed of 72.4 kilometers per hour and has a range of 498 kilometers. There's a crew of 4, including the driver, commander, gunner, and ammunition loader. The driver sits at the front of the tank inside the hull, while the commander stands inside the rotating turret. The gunner sits at his feet. The M1 Abrams is powered by an Avco Lycoming, now Honeywell AGT, 1500 gas turbine engine, developing 1500 horsepower. Essentially, it's a modified helicopter engine adapted for use on tanks. It is a multi-fuel engine which can run on any grade of petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, and kerosene. This engine has impressive performance and is compact for its power output. So even though the Abrams tank is heavy and bulky, it is surprisingly agile. It's faster than many other tanks and has superior cross-country performance. Also, the engine is remarkably quiet. Due to this feature, the Abrams is even nicknamed the Whispering Death. One of the most important improvements over the M1 is the M256 120mm smoothbore gun, originally developed by Rheinmetall and produced in the USA under license. This gun is loaded manually, and the ammunition load was decreased to 40 rounds due to the larger size. The M1A1 Abrams has a range of effective fire in excess of 4 kilometers, which was successfully demonstrated during Operation Desert Storm in 1991. Leopard 2. The Leopard 2 main battle tank was developed by Krauss-Maffei, now Krauss-Maffei-Wegmann, back in the 1970s, just a couple of years after the previous Leopard 1 entered service. In those days, a clash between NATO and the Warsaw Pact was possible, and the West German Army needed a well-protected tank, which would be superior to the models introduced in the Eastern Bloc. The first prototypes of the Leopard 2 were completed in 1972. In 1977, Bundeswehr, the armed forces of the Federal Republic of Germany, initially ordered 1,800 of these main battle tanks to supplement and replace the Leopard 1. The first production batch of 30 tanks was completed in 1979, and the Leopard 2 was adopted by the West German Army during the same year. At the time of its introduction, it was a very advanced and successful design, and by 1993, the German Army operated a total of 2,155 of these main battle tanks. The Leopard 2 main battle tank is armed with a fully stabilized Rheinmetall 120mm L44 smoothbore gun. The vehicle carries 42 rounds for the main gun. 15 ready-to-use rounds are stored in the turret bustle, while the rest are stored in the front of the hull by the driver. The tank normally uses two main types of ammunition: armor-piercing rounds and multi-purpose rounds. Germans estimated that their Leopard 2 tanks could penetrate the frontal armor of the Soviet T-72 tank at a range of 2,000 meters, and frontal armor of the T-62 tank at a range of over 4,000 meters. Secondary armor consists of two 7.62mm machine guns. One of them is coaxial, and the other is mounted on top of the roof. The Leopard 2 has a crew of 4, including commander, gunner, loader, and driver. The tank is motorized with an MTU MB873 KF51 liquid-cooled V12 twin-turbo diesel engine developing 1,479 horsepower coupled to a Rink HSWL 354 transmission with 4 forward and 2 reverse gears, with a torque converter, and is completely automatic with the driver selecting the range. The Leopard 2 can run at a maximum road speed of 72 km per hour with a cruising range of 550 km. It can also be fitted with a deep wading kit. After preparation, it can ford water obstacles up to 4 meters deep. The most widespread version of the Leopard 2 family, the 2A4 models, included more substantial changes, including a new automated fire and explosion suppression system, an all-digital fire control system able to handle new ammunition types, and an improved turret with more armor. The Leopard 2A7V is the latest version of the Leopard 2A7, with enhanced protection, greater mobility, improved command and control, increased sustainability, and more firepower being reasons for the procurement. However, the primary reason for the introduction of the new variant of the main battle tank was the requirement of the German Army for an increased number of Leopard 2A7 main battle tanks, of which they only had 20. Merkava. Often, the most advanced military weaponry gets attributed to powerhouses like the US or Europe, but it's in fact Israel that's responsible for one of the most effective series of tanks the world has ever seen. The Merkava tank is now on its 5th version, and it represents some of the most advanced developments in terms of the planet's armored vehicles. All of the Merkava range tanks, from the prototype to the Mark IV, share a similar chassis, automotive system, and turret design. The differences come from the requirement priorities between mobility and firepower. The first design, which became the Merkava Mark I, showcased the basic design. It had a triangular flat turret with typical armor protection cells installed on both sides of the gun. The engine was forward-mounted, which allowed the rear to have an access hatch, stores, and flexible reconfiguration options. 9 years of development were needed to eventually deliver the first iteration of the Merkava to the Israel Defense Forces. The Mark I used a Teledyne Continental AVDS 1790-6A diesel engine, which delivered 908 horsepower. At 60 tons, it was slow, but remember that protection was the priority, not mobility. The ammunition for the 105mm gun was stored in special protected containers, which held 4 rounds. The gun is loaded via a rear hatch. The tank had the capacity to carry up to 62 various rounds, including the APF SDS, heat, HE frag, and smoke rounds. For additional protection, there was a 7.62mm machine gun, as well as 2 more 7.62mm machine guns on the top of the roof. The tank could also be fitted with an external 60mm mortar, which fired smoke, illumination, or anti-personnel rounds. The first Merkava was used in the 1982 Lebanon War, but at this stage, the Mark II had already been developed to enter service. The quick speed of this turnaround was due to continued development based on lessons and feedback from users, as opposed to a slow and linear operational testing process. The Mark II had new special armor modules installed on the turret sides and skirts to further enforce the tank's protection. The Army kept the 105mm gun, but the tank was equipped with improved fire control and optronic equipment, bringing it to the same level as a fully upgraded M60S. But the main difference was that the Merkava offered superior protection. The next version took longer to enter operation, but the differences were dramatic between the Mark II and the Mark III. It was 7 years, in 1989, before these were introduced. There was another new modular armor concept, which meant that armor could be adapted quickly to evolving threats. The tank finally upgraded its gun to a 120mm version produced by Israeli manufacturer IMI. The improved MG-253 gun was upgraded to fire the latest ammunition types, including the APFDS Sabo ammunition. The 12.7mm main machine gun was also improved and fired longer and heavier HE rounds. As well as a new weapon, there was also a new 900 horsepower diesel engine that was developed by the German firm MTU. This new iteration had the latest improvements of modular removable armor and included another fire control upgrade with the addition of the LOP Knight Mark IV fire control system. This was a key upgrade to help with aerial threats. Another improvement included the Elbit battle management system, where interaction and awareness of the battlefield were greatly improved. There were further upgrades to the protection of the tank, where vulnerable parts were strengthened for increasing urban warfare efficiency, including to the turret roof and the belly in a V-shape to cope with landmines and better deflecting blasts. Arguably the biggest improvement is the use of smart technology and the integration of the Trophy Active Protection System, designed to counter the most advanced anti-tank missiles, rocket-propelled grenades, anti-tank rockets, and high-explosive anti-tank rounds. Trophy can create a bubble around the vehicle to neutralize all of these threats. It can also rapidly detect, classify, and engage all known chemical energy threats, including recoilless rifles, ATGMs, AT rockets, heat tank rounds, and RPGs. This is the massively impressive Merkava tank. It's taken 5 decades to produce one of the most advanced tanks in the world, which was born out of a need for Israel to have their own fighting vehicle for their own terrain. K2 Black Panther. In terms of expensive and advanced tanks, it's hard to look beyond the K2 Black Panther. South Korea's primary armored vehicle has been an essential recent addition into its arsenal. Constant tensions with its rival north of the border mean that the K2 is a useful asset to have in reserve should any issues show themselves. Development started in 1995. The first prototype was revealed in 2007. After testing, the initial contract for 100 tanks was signed in 2014. This was worth $820 million. 2 years later, the tanks would enter service. The requirement was then up to 300 tanks total. The eventual requirement to be able to phase out previous models is over 600 K2 tanks. One of the main advantages of the build was the ability to export the machine, as it was completely South Korean-owned. This has paid off, as Poland bought 980 K2 tanks in 2022, which were delivered in that same year. The tank is extremely hardy. This is due to its modular composite armor and explosive reactive armor blocks. There have been claims that front armor can tolerate direct hits from 120mm tank rounds fired from L-55 guns. The K2 is also completed with an active protection system and countermeasures system. On top of this, the tank features a nuclear, biological, and chemical protection system. The layout of the Black Panther is orthodox, with the driver's compartment at the front, fighting compartment in the middle, and engine and transmission at the rear. The K2 has a crew of 3, with a driver at the front of the hull, with the commander and gunner sitting in the turret. The 120mm gun also has the capability to fire a variety of munitions. All standard NATO tank rounds can be fired from the K2. It's also capable of firing new Korean Smart Top Attack munition rounds. Other features of the tank include a deep wading kit. This enables the vehicle to cross rivers and other water obstacles of up to 4.2 meters deep. South Korea's previous tanks were unable to do this. The K2 Black Panther represents the very cutting edge of tank technology. It was designed to be future-proof and take the emphasis away from the typical strengths you'd associate with a tank. It could be seen as one of the world's first smart tanks. Everything on this vehicle is designed to engage the enemy in an intelligent way, while minimizing damage and impact to friendly troops. The K2 is a symbol of things to come on the battlefield, but as far as the present, it's one of the most advanced and expensive tanks that military money can buy. Challenger 2. The FV4034 Challenger 2 is a third-generation British main battle tank in service with the armies of the United Kingdom and Oman. It was designed and built by the British company Vickers Defence Systems, now known as BAE Systems Land and Armaments. This tank was developed as a private venture to replace the previous Chieftain main battle tank, and is a further development of the Challenger 1. The The Challenger 2 is the British Army's main battle tank, which entered service in 1998. One of its strengths lies in its ability to shock the enemy under pressure by a rapid and fully committed advance, causing them to break and retreat. Although the hull and automotive parts of the Challenger 2 are based upon that of its predecessor, Challenger 1, the new tank incorporates over 150 improvements, which have achieved substantially increased reliability and ease of maintenance. This tank is one of the most protected tanks in the world. It provides a very high level of protection against direct-fire weapons. The tank has a crew of 4, with the driver located at the center front of the hull, and 3 crew members in the turret, with the commander seated on the right, the gunner forward and below the commander, and the loader on the left side. The turret is protected with second-generation Chobham armor, also known as Dorchester, which provides increased resistance to penetration by anti-tank weapons. The main armament of the Challenger 2 consists of a 120mm 55 caliber long-rifled tank gun designated the L30A1, fitted with a thermal sleeve, fume extractor, and muzzle reference system. This gun is capable of firing a wide variety of standard NATO 120mm tank munitions. The gun is loaded manually and has an effective range of fire with armor-piercing rounds of over 3,000 meters. The Challenger gun claims the longest distance tank kill in history. During the Gulf War, it defeated an Iraqi tank at a range of 4 kilometers. Mounted coaxially to the left of the main armament is the ATK Gun Systems Company 7.62mm chain gun, which is already in service with the British Army and installed now in the Alvis Vickers Warrior mechanized combat vehicle. Mounted on either side of the turret front is a bank of 5 66mm Thales AFV systems electrically operated smoke grenade dischargers that cover the forward arc of the vehicle. One more 7.62mm machine gun can be found mounted on the loader hatch. The Challenger 2 has a 12-cylinder, 1,200 horsepower Perkins Caterpillar CV12 diesel engine and a David Brown TN54 gearbox with 6 forward and 2 reverse gears. The vehicle is suspended on top of a hydropneumatic suspension system of second-generation hydrogas development. The tank has 6 aluminum road wheels and the drive sprocket at the rear, idler at the front, and 2 track return rollers on either side. The upper part of the track is covered by conventional aluminum skirts. The maximum speed by road is 59 km per hour and 40 km per hour cross-country. Thanks to a fuel capacity of 1,592 liters, its maximal operational range is given as 450 kilometers by road and 250 kilometers cross-country on internal fuel only. It could also receive rear external fuel drums for a 550-kilometer range. KF51. The KF51 is based on the hull of the Leopard 2A4, thus having a conventional layout for an MBT. Where the design of the KF51 differs from the preceding generation of Western MBTs, it introduces a new 2-person turret fitted with an auto-loaded main gun. The rear of the turret houses the magazines for the main gun's automatic loader and pods for loitering ammunitions if equipped. The Panther has a combat weight of 59 tons, making it lighter than most Western MBTs developed prior to 2022. The power pack, tracks, and most of the running gear are believed to be derived from those of the Leopard 2A4. The Panther's maximum speed has not been disclosed, but it has a maximum range of 500 kilometers. The KF51 Panther is stated to have 3 layers of protection: passive, reactive, and active. The innermost layer consists of all-welded steel armor covered by passive armor modules. The second layer comprises sensor-based reactive armor, while the final layer consists of Rheinmetall's Strike Shield Active Protection System, or APS. The Panther is fitted with 8 Rheinmetall Rapid Obscuring System, or ROSI, smoke grenade launchers mounted in staggered rows of 2 behind the central camera housing on each side of the turret. The primary armament of the KF51 is a stabilized Rheinmetall RH-130 L51 130mm smoothbore gun that can be elevated from -9 degrees to +20 degrees. The RH-130 can fire armor-piercing, fin-stabilized discarding sabot ammunition, programmable airburst high explosive, and practice projectiles. The secondary armament consists of a coaxially mounted 12.7mm machine gun. A remote-operated weapon station can be mounted on the rear of the turret roof to provide close-in defense and a counter-unmanned aircraft system capability. An option for this is the Rheinmetall Natter, which can be armed with a 7.62mm gun that can be elevated from -15 degrees to +85 degrees.